I'm Samantha Bryant, and I'm here today to talk to you about my publishing journey. I publish with a small publisher. My publisher is Falstaff Books, the Misfit Toys of Fiction. And here in July of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I'm really pleased with how it's going for me in my career. And I know a lot of people who aren't yet published, or even who already are published, are looking at different paths and thinking about what kind of path to publishing is the right one for me. And so I thought I'd just share a little bit about how it went for me and see if that helps you with making your decisions. I would say that whatever path to publishing you choose to pursue, it's going to come with its own kind of troubles. And so a lot of it comes down to really knowing yourself, knowing what kind of troubles you are equipped to deal with, how stressed they're going to make you, and making your decisions based on that. So like a lot of people, I wanted to write for a long time, and I finally finished my first book when I was 41 or 42, thereabouts. And I started trying to get it published. And the way I did that was by submitting it to the big 6 publishers. There were 6 of them then, now there's only 5. And waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting until I thought I was gonna die. Like you send your manuscript out, or you send the portion that they ask for on their website out, which is sometimes 10 pages, sometimes 50 pages, whatever the publisher asks for. And it can take 6 months to a year just to get no. Not even no with a reason or a suggestion or anything helpful. It's a really slow process. And it makes sense because they're big and they're dealing with so many people and they get so many submissions. So it's not that I don't understand why it's slow. It's that I understand that I'm already almost 50 now and I don't have a whole lot of time for that kind of slow. And as I went a little further in the process, I started to hear about small presses. I was pretty sure I didn't want to self-publish. And it's not that I have any bias against self-publishing or that I think that indie published books are of any lower quality than traditional published books. It's not that at all. It's about the work that falls on me as the author if I become my own publisher as well. If you are your own publisher, then you have to arrange for your book covers, you have to arrange for your distribution, you have to arrange for your book layout and your editing, and all that research and finding people and dealing with it if it goes bad, all falls on you. And see, I only do this part-time. I'm, in need of a regular income, and the arts will rarely bring a person a regular income. So I still teach, and writing is something that I do when I'm not teaching. So I didn't want to give up all my time to actually spend on stories and writing them, and even on the promotional activities that I do, because I was too busy teaching myself new software or dealing with an artist who was supposed to be my cover artist and flaked out on me or something like that. So I knew I wanted something more like traditional publishing, but I also knew that I was severely frustrated by the glacial pace of working with Big 5 companies. So I had a friend who'd been published by a small publisher, and I looked into them and I thought, maybe this is a good route for me. And so I started submitting to small publishers. And the process for that was very similar. Go to the website, read what it says that they want for your submission, provide that, and then wait for a response. The difference was that the response from small publishers generally came within about a month. So that really didn't try my patience in the same way. And of course, your mileage is really going to vary. Small publishers are small, right? And like with any small business, they can go really well and run like a well-oiled machine, or they could be kind of a mess because the person running it doesn't really know what they're doing yet, they're learning it too, or because the company is so small, like say it's one person, or it's a team of 2 or 3 people. It only takes one life disaster to make things have to slow down. And so you have to realize that in working with a small publisher. It's not like working with Bank of America or something where the fact that the teller you worked with yesterday is sick has no effect on you. If the publishing company consists of 2 people and one of them is sick and married to the other person, then your work is going to get delayed. But I still found in the submission process, it was so much faster. And I went from having a manuscript that I wanted to see published to having a contract in the space of 6 months. And in that 6 months, I submitted to a lot of different publishers. And the publisher I eventually found was called Curiosity Quills, and that story doesn't end real happily. If you want to read some details, you can check it out on my website, samanthebryant.com. I'll put a link to the particular blog post about that whole situation in the comments. But it starting out, it was super exciting. And, even though it went south, I still considered it a positive experience. And when I broke with that publisher and got my rights back because the company was falling apart, I immediately sought out another small publisher. And I'd learned a bit more about how to tell if the company was in good shape or not. I learned to look at the number of staff compared to the number of things in the catalog and try to gauge whether they could actually support that much work or if they were stretching themselves too thin. And something I can give praise to Falstaff Books about is that I think they do understand their own limits in people power. They know how many work hours they have, and they make a publishing schedule they can actually keep up with. And so far it's going very well. So why I'm with a small publisher? I don't have the wherewithal at this stage to be a completely indie author. I don't have time to learn all those different skills or the money to just hire people to do that work for me. When I have hired editors and things for my work, which I have done because I am trying to get some indie projects out there, it's time consuming and expensive, and I got really frustrated with how little time it left me to actually write. So for someone like me, I value having a partner. And even with the small publisher who eventually folded on me, and the small publisher I'm working with now, some of the small publishers I've had stories and anthologies with, you're going to get a variety, but it's easy to talk to the person in charge. When the entire hierarchy is 4 people deep, you can talk to the person in charge. So you are personally much more important to the company, even if you're a nobody who's never sold a book before. If they cared enough to take you on, you can talk to the head honcho. And you have, how much influence you have over things like what your cover looks like is going to depend on the publishing company. But I found that in a small publishing company, my voice about those details that of what the book is going to look like and what kind of promotion we're going to do, I get a lot more say in that than I hear about other authors getting a say with when they're published with the big 5. And I appreciate having a team behind me. I appreciate that, I didn't have to go figure out if somebody was a good editor and take a whole bunch of samples and then hire somebody only to find out that they edited the whole thing using a British style of punctuation and spelling when I write an American, and it doesn't work, or that they're just not good at it, because not everybody who puts out a shingle that says editor for hire actually has any skills, right? It takes some research to find out. But my work gets edited by someone that Falstaff has already vetted and they've already worked with, and so far my experience has been really positive. I haven't had to argue with my editor because I thought they lacked competence or anything like that. And the same with cover art. I am not a graphic artist. If I were a graphic artist, maybe I would make my own covers and I'd be very happy. But the truth is that I write stories. I don't make covers for stories. So I was really grateful to be able to have a team behind me with some expertise in this. And they have ideas for promotion that I don't have. And I have this whole family feeling, this whole group behind me. So that's why I am happy, for the time being at least, being published by a small publisher. And there you go. That's my path to publishing.